My residence life story doesn't begin with me. It begins with you. You reached out and made me feel welcome. You lived as a role model. You inspired me to keep reaching my full potential. My residence life story begins with you.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family.
I have a little story to answer this one. It was the beginning of my freshman year. I was marked as a first-year student with a bright yellow Urban Blend shirt. I was confused, scared, and nervous. So when I walked into the cafeteria, I sat alone, surrounded by strangers. And then, some crazy guy I had never met before asked if he could sit with me. My res life story begins with Matt Hansen. He interrogated me on my life, and then more people sat down to join him. One of them rather enthusiastically said, "I recognize you from Whitey's." My res life story begins with Pat Lynch. Before the meal was over, I began to talk about bowling with someone who had actually bowled more than just twice in his life. My res life story begins with Vondre Fox. I learned from you that this is one of the most important roles of a resident advisor, making people feel welcome and creating lifelong relationships. If we want to create a community on our floor, we have to lead by example, and that's what you did, inspiring me to be open and inclusive to everyone I met. There were things I knew about myself when I first became an RA. I knew how to communicate with anyone. I knew how to tell a good story and get people interested. I knew how to plan events, and I knew how to multitask. Was this really only 5 months ago? Because each of those things have been shattered and rebuilt to a completely different understanding now. But besides these fundamental skills of any successful college student, I have learned about myself from the relationships I have gained with each of you. Vondre taught me the importance of finding help in people that can make a difference rather than dwelling on the past. He also told me to never stop smiling when things were bad, and no matter how much frustration occurred in the long run, there is more good than bad, and that's what we need to focus on. Brittany taught me to embrace my awkwardness and use it to my advantage. She encouraged me to stop hiding it and hiding from interactions with people because of it, but rather show it off as one of my defining characteristics, because it is, after all, me. Michael Durbin taught me how to hug, and that sounds really weird, but I seriously have a problem with this, and at least now I know that you are supposed to take your hands out of your pockets. But besides just that, he also taught me to never go at it alone. He encouraged me to open up, and he supported me in my actions to better myself and to become a better RA. So what are those actions to become a better RA? I have so many ideas for the rest of this semester and next year as well. But above all, I want to improve my relationship with my residents. This is the thing I consider the most important role for an RA, so it's obviously something I value and want to constantly improve.
Working hard to get my fill.
My biggest success was quite simply the Awkward Family Photos program and door decorations. At first, my residents seemed to be slightly annoyed that I was making them do this, but once I brought out a box of holiday props, they became extremely excited. I was in some rooms for at least 10 minutes, trying to find the best lighting and taking multiple shots. It was fun, because I not only created something enjoyable for them to do, but I was able to participate in it as well. My biggest challenge this year was just finding my confidence. I was experiencing reverse culture shock, and I was moved into a building with hardly anyone I knew. I was afraid they weren't going to like my ideas, and I was afraid to be left alone with a failed program. It's something that I'm still working on, but now that I know I can use my awkwardness to my advantage, it opens up hundreds of possibilities.
Daddy! Zion y Lennox. You know how we do, man. Let's do this. Come on. Daddy, daddy.
The easiest way to help people be tolerant is education, because a lot of the time, intolerance is just ignorance or misunderstanding. I'm a very logical person, so it's easy for me to mediate conversation. The key is to find common ground and learn to embrace differences.
I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand.
Relationships has been a common theme in most of my answers, and this is what motivates me to come back next year. I have gained a strong relationship with the people on my staff and with hall directors, and I recognize that there's so much more opportunity to create relationships with my residents and other RAs on campus. And that's something I look forward to doing next year also, is creating strong relationships and helping other people to have a great time at St. Ambrose, just like Res Life has helped me.
I am unwritten, can't read my mind, I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen's in my